Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share yet another gaming demo for the Nvidia Tegra Note 7. Now this is arguably the most powerful $200 tablet ever made. You're looking at a 7-inch IPS display, and even though it doesn't have the 1200p resolution of the Nexus 7 2013, it still is nothing to scoff at. Especially for a $200 device that has front-facing or front-firing speakers, some of the loudest that I've ever encountered on any tablet, let alone a 7-inch form factor. There's quite a bit of bezel, a VGA camera on the front that's pretty awful, but still serviceable. Better to have it than not. This design, by the way, really reminds me of the old Arcos tablets, for those of you who haven't thought about that already and watched my full review. But it operates nothing like it, I can assure you of that. Already updated to 4.3, a nice enhancement for this tablet. You've got a Tegra 4 quad-core processor, pretty much best-in-class mobile processor, right up there with the Snapdragon 800. And when it comes to graphical performance, which is what today's video is about, you're going to see it's one of the best out there, really only second to the Nvidia Shield, which isn't ironic, it's actually quite intentional in my opinion, because Nvidia wants to make some of the most powerful devices ever made in the mobile market, really showing off what the Tegra 4 is capable. And that's why the direct stylus experience that's incorporated into this all leverages the processor. In fact, everything we've got here leverages that Tegra 4. So gaming is what today's video is about. Let's get down to business. There's only a gig of RAM here, and as I mentioned, often you would have more than a gig, even on something like the Nexus 7 2013. Here we've got 2 gigs of RAM, much higher res screen, nowhere near the processor performance, even though the Snapdragon S4 Pro, which is actually an underclocked S600, is still very solid. It just won't touch the Tegra 4, especially here you've got the Tegra Zone and some THD enhanced or enabled games is what I should say that really take advantage of that graphics capability. So first of all, let's start off with something light. And this will show multitasking as well, because I've got multiple games open here. Only 16 gigs of internal storage. You can now write applications, exchange data, I should say, with the micro SD card slot. That was part of the 4.3 update. Important for many of you looking to expand your internal storage through the use of the micro SD card slot. But let's go ahead with Crazy Taxi. Actually, let's go ahead and just resume game. I don't know why I would restart. Control's not the best, definitely better with the Shield, but it still works. If I'm able to actually drive here. I'll be starting over. Give me a moment here. We'll start over right now. And this isn't a game for everyone, but it's an inexpensive one, generally speaking, that plays well. It's also part of the Tegra Zone. Every game I'll be showing you today is available in the Tegra Zone, and that's NVIDIA's application store designed for their hardware. Anything driven by the Tegra 4 processor. So let's just go ahead and play, giving you some instructions on the crazy jump as well as crazy through. You could pick your car and driver here. Now, I will say for this game in particular, the Shield is definitely a better experience, no question. But not bad. I got her there at least quickly. I should have picked up a fare there, but you can see I'm just enjoying showing off here the graphics a little bit. Even though these graphics, keep in mind, Sega Dreamcast, that's what you're looking at. Let me go ahead and lower the volume a little bit. But still, really impressive considering when I think about how this used to be on a console, and now I've got it here on something like this that can go anywhere, output to a TV, and even though this isn't, you know, the premier game of any mobile platform, it's just a fun one, and again, nostalgic, at least for me personally. Showing my age a little bit to a degree. Not doing my best to drive here, but apparently I picked up a long fare. Oh, I missed the jump. But I'm getting in there even if I take out another cab. Only normal performance there. Hop in. Keep in mind, I haven't spent that much time playing this game, and it's not like this incorporates a lot of the original in terms of controls. It's just not optimized for touchscreen, in my opinion. Come on, let's get this last one. Slow. All right. Well, that's enough. Also, I think this should show that the screen really is beyond competent. It's a really high-quality screen when you consider what EVGA and Nvidia put together here. By the way, this tablet goes by many different names, even though this may be labeled as the EVGA Tegra Note 7, many other brands, Zolo, Advent, among many others. So it's really just a matter of where you live in terms of what manufacturer you're going to get. Let's go to Choplifter HD. So I'll just demo now basically what this game has to offer against it. Again, it is THD enhanced. So you are getting the entire optimization here with the Tegra 4. It'll load up relatively quickly, another indication of the quality of that Tegra 4 quad-core processor. Took him out quite easily there. By the way, not a difficult game. Got to destroy that. That's some missile action right there. Back that up, take him out. Definitely better on, you know, if you were going to actually hook this up to your TV, but this wouldn't necessarily be the game that you'd want to do that with, but definitely if you output this to a TV, use a Bluetooth controller, HDMI out, better than on this screen. But even with this screen, pairing up, you know, a controller or using a wired Xbox controller with a USB host, great option. No question about that. And the game looks great, plays well, and it's just fun. That's the whole point. So that's another demo. Let's go ahead and jump into Zombie Driver. Give you another game. And this is showing off the multitasking, because here we are, you know, jumping in between, back and forth through different games that are all open simultaneously. And the Tegra Note 7 really doesn't miss a beat, and that's indicative of how strong a performer the Tegra 4 is, despite the fact that this doesn't have that 2 gigs of RAM that I'll continue to mention over and over again. And the limitation of the 16 gigs of internal storage is no longer a limitation as well. Now, you know, the sky's the limit, at least when it comes to what you want to throw in the micro SD card slot. Performance won't be exactly identical, but if you buy a good card, you will benefit from that performance. So let's go ahead and go into story mode. This is another popular game. Control on here, again, difficult compared to using something like the Shield. And you're going to hear me say that over and over again, because at least I'm not a fan of touchscreen games. I'd always rather use a controller. And that's what the Shield gives you, the best of both worlds in Android, and then leverage over your computer, not to sidetrack too much. And there are more intensive games that'll press the Tegra 4 even more, but when it comes to mobile experience, you're looking at the best you're going to get from any tablet on the market. So when it comes to gaming, this is a superior performer than the Snapdragon 800. Even though they are very close, as I've mentioned before, overall, because they're just two of the top tier mobile processors, at least until we start to see next gen. So going through some loading, but again, pretty quick load times. By the way, these games are huge. For those of you wondering what I've been showing here, these are gigantic games when it comes to tablets. and the mobile OSs that they reside in and or are powered by. And that's why I know a lot of you are concerned about the 16 gigs of storage. And that's why I've continued to mention that you can use your micro SD card slot to offset that. So basically explain that we're going to be driving around looking for survivors and running over the ones that didn't. Controls here a little bit funky. You can see we've got a joystick on the left. Far from my favorite. You've got to be really gradual with this. Again, much better for the shield. No question about that. As careful as I could possibly be. You see, I'm overshooting the turn. But we'll chalk this up to my inadequacy with the game rather than the game itself as a platform or indication. Because when it comes to graphics and performance, it's pretty cool. No question about that. But I'm just doing a terrible job here with controlling this car. We'll see if I should get a little more rhythm. Even though I'm missing the zombies. A little bit of roadkill and some sound effects to match. Not that any of you could hear that. I don't think you could. There you go. And you can actually see the blood there on the vehicle, even though it disappeared. I mean, these are things that are those small enhancements that THD is all about. You saw the whole splatter effect there. So, destructible environments. I mean, this is stuff with mobile gaming that really is not par for the course. Even though you're not getting anything other than, you know, several console generation performance, something from yesteryear, it's still pretty impressive to see a game like this on a $200 tablet performing so well. No frame drops here. All the, you know, quality in terms of preference settings for performance cranked up. And if you do this on something like the Nexus 7, it's still going to do well. It's just not going to do as well. You're not going to have the THD enhanced games that you'll find in the Tegra Zone, and performance just isn't the same. That's my best way of putting it. Forget that the audio performance here blows away just about every tablet on the market for the most part. I won't say everyone, but a lot. Certainly the budget market it owns. So again, Tegra Note 7, a great tablet. You can see the multitasking right there, and gaming performance really strong. Still hearing audio, oddly enough, even though we went back to the home screen that should have disabled. But a great tablet, the update only improving things, great battery life, Wi-Fi, even though it's single band, not dual band, you're relying on the 2.4 gigahertz range. Still very solid. That micro HDMI out, micro USB, which is a standard protocol for charging, data transfer, hosting things like controllers, hard drives, thumb drives, keyboards, anything that's USB based. You know, hook up a USB hub and use this thing as a little mobile computer. I mean, that's what it really represents with this sort of horsepower. And then because you have the stylus and the capability to use Nvidia's direct stylus either to draw or take notes and even add applications, this thing is just a phenomenal piece of hardware. I mean, I've already delivered my full review, which was a heavy endorsement of what Nvidia's put together here. And the endorsement clearly not ending here with the gaming, only an extension, because you can see how well this thing really performs with graphic intensive games when it comes to at least what we expect on the mobile level. So a lot to like here in the Tegra Note 7. A gaming machine, a portable console, everything that the Shield could possibly be really rolled into the form factor of a 7-inch tablet experience, less the extra gig of RAM, the really best-in-class wireless performance, and of course that dedicated controller, which is vacant from every other device on the market. But gaming performance, that Tegra 4 is what it's all about. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.